I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. What I want to do today is I want to launch the big payback campaign of vengeance and the campaign against the Mellon Bank on behalf of Elizabeth Lewis on behalf of the disadvantaged and poor people. Mr. Engineer, if you could bring up the flyer full screen, please, sir. I want to launch that today. Y'all stand up. Don't stand behind somebody taller than you so you can't see what's going on. But I want to launch this campaign today under the rubric here of the big payback. And it reads, if you're unable to read it, I'll read it for you, and then we're going to make it available to everybody. When I win the $70 million lawsuit, and by the way, that's a rounded off number. The item is that this lawsuit that we have is millions plus 18% interest, compounded daily over a period of 23 years. There's a movie called The Burial with that boy, what's his name? Jamie Foxx. You need to watch it. Now, I know it's a movie, but it's based on a true story on someone who was a gardener and got gypped, went to law school, and beat the living daylights out of major corporations. So it can be done. It can, and it will be done. In this case, it will be done. But if you can't get an opportunity, you'll be very inspired by watching that movie called The Burial. At any rate, when I win the $70 million lawsuit against the BNY Mellon Bank and Mayor Eric Adams, here are a portion of my plans. I was born with a giving spirit. And I've discovered that it's a great way to accomplish things simply by giving. And I will give $10,000 of that money to 100 disadvantaged, thank you very much, Elizabeth Lewis, people who have been gravely affected by Harlem gentrification. So 100 people get, that's $1 million that will be given to poor people. I will also give $20,000 to 50 people who have been foreclosed by the Mellon Bank. Now, I get calls all the time from people who said the Mellon Bank, it was the Mellon Bank and Judge Kahn that got them the same thing that I went through. Others have called me relentlessly telling me it has happened to them as well. The $20,000 will be allotted to them. I will establish a $1 million legal defense fund to open cases to open judgments. If a judgment has been given, that in the court system is the final thing to be had about a matter. The judgment has been entered. But if there's new evidence, Sister Matos, if there's new evidence, that judgment can be opened. In other words, a judgment can be vacated, or vacatur is what they call it, and the case can be tried or looked at it again because there's new evidence. For instance, if someone accused of murder and they get sentenced and go to prison, but someone discovers DNA of the person that was murdered and the weapon was not the same person they put in prison. DNA is new evidence, judgment gets opened, and the case gets tried all over again. And that can happen in so many cases, especially with the foreclosure. I will donate $1 million and set up a legal defense fund for disadvantaged and poor people against the Mellon Bank, Maytag, James Meeks, and the New York City Department of Finance. Now, I've also stated here in this big payback, the day of vengeance, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Robin Vance, if he remains president of the Mellon Bank, I've sent him a personal note, and I'm going to make sure he gets this personally himself. I sent him a personal note. Stop the blood sucking now. Stop it. And I made the statement in August of 2022. We protested your bank foreclosing our church for $36,000 in water and sewer charges, now risen to $3.7 million with interest at 18%. When Warren Buffett of Berkshire Industries heard of the foreclosure that the bank was doing against our church, he immediately closed his account at the Mellon Bank, withdrawing $38 billion out of the Mellon Bank and deposited it with Capital One. And I've stated in my personal statement to Mr. Vince, haven't you learned your lesson yet? And to New York City Mayor Eric Adams, shame on you. In August of 2022, you turned a deaf ear to our school children when they stood on the steps of City Hall and pleaded with you to stop the foreclosure of our church and school. Yet, when you turned a deaf ear to us, yet you supported and aided your pastor, Bishop Whitehead, a two-time convicted felon, when he conned a church member out of her life savings. Yet you won't come to help us. So it's payback time. Payback time. And to all New York City gentrifiers, land grabbers, white shoe predators, it's payback time. I, James Manning, pastor of Bethelite Community Baptist Church, have launched a $70 million civil rights violation against the blood-sucking Mellon Bank, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, under the color of law, a conspirator. That should be reversed the other way, but they'll get it. And I put the case number there in the event you want to go online and read the entire 60 pages of the complaint that I filed back in March of last year. It says the Bethelite Community Baptist Church of Harlem, New York, has served over 2 million meals, hot meals, from our soup kitchen and homeless services. It founded a Christian school for grades K through 12, graduating hundreds of students. Accepted at Cardozo Law, Fordham, St. John's, Juilliard, New York Law, New York University, Pratt, and Yale for undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degrees. And I've put my name versus Tara Ward, the lawyer for the Philip Little Liar Law Firm. That's the Philip Little Liar Law Firm in Syracuse, New York. And I've given the telephone number and the address, and I put our church sign and logo there as well. You may take your seats. Our goal and prayer is, over the next 7 weeks, is to distribute 1 million of these flyers across America, but primarily here in America, and to do as much as we can in terms of a campaign to get 1 million YouTube viewers to see this on YouTube, and that segment I just did to be broadcast on YouTube. So I did some research, and I discovered whether or not people still use flyers, whether or not, because we live in a digital age and everything is digital. You go out, there's no newspapers on the street, there's no newsstands, and everybody's going digital. But the one thing that is still very powerful in political campaigns is the use of flyers, and even yard signs are still, and mailing, actually mailing of letters is still the highest way and the most powerful and potent way that political campaigns get their message out. This is not a political campaign, it's a spiritual campaign. But it's our prayer to get that many distributions, 1 million and 1 million, as best we possibly can. And I believe that we will be able to do that, and also to get people involved in the process. What I have gone through is inhumane. Now, I come and I preach and I teach and I smile as best I can, but I have been fighting this for years and years and years. And it's just inhumane what I have had to suffer by the mayor of the city, all the mayors of the city of New York. I mean, think about this for just a second. Whatever you may think about my politics, maybe you don't like me because I don't like Obama, maybe you don't like me because I don't like homos, but think about it for just a second. A church that does the work and the caliber of community work that we do should not go understated. I mean, at some point, you need to be rational enough to set aside your ignorances and say, wait a minute, the man is educated, the man is feeding. And I'll give you a better example of that. Though you're going to get harsh criticism and biblical rebuke if you're a homosexual from me. But I will let you in, I will let you come in, let you be a part of this ministry. I will love you, take care of you. If you're homeless, I'll give you a place to stay. I can separate what you are based on what you need. But for the city of New York to relentlessly pursue this matter all these years, and not once has one city official ever called us and asked what be the matter. Can we help you? Not one. That shows you the level of hate. But it also shows me integrity. It shows them the level of fear. Because if I live, they die. That's why they have not offered any help. But it doesn't make any sense. Still at that level. So you need to understand as well that fighting this battle has not been an easy battle. And I'm not complaining. But I have to tell you, it's taken a lot of my life. What I've gone through, no human being should have to go through. But I will continue to fight. A lot of people don't think I can win this battle. That's what they think. The issue is the way you think, the way I think, is that they haven't won it. With all that power, with the lawyers of the Mellon Bank, with the lawyers of the city of New York, they haven't won the battle yet. And you think I can't win it? They haven't won it. I guess you don't think like that. You see the contrast? If you don't think I can win it, they haven't. Well, maybe that don't work for you philosophically. Y'all stand up for this. So I read the verses regarding vengeance. Is mine, saith the Lord. My arrows shall be drunk with blood. Hebrews, Barnabas says, vengeance is mine, I will repay. And so I want to state here on this beautiful day, thus saith the Lord God Almighty to Robin Vince and Mellon Bank. I will defeat you, and I will expose you. Thus saith the Lord to Robin Vince and Mellon Bank. Thus saith the Lord to the Philip Little Liar law firm. You are going to jail, and they are. And I'll get into the details of the fraud, criminality that law firm has perpetrated on poor people. Because if you can't afford a lawyer, and even if you do, lawyers cannot be trusted. But they have perpetrated criminality for years, the Philip Little Liar law firm. You're going to jail, thus saith the Lord. What I'm going to do, and what I mean the Lord, thus saith the Lord to the Mellon Bank and to Robin Vince, thus saith the Lord, I will make what happened with Enron down in Houston, Texas, 2 decades ago, look like a community service misdemeanor when I finish with you, thus saith the Lord to the Mellon Bank. Vengeance is mine. Payback is a witch. Now you can use the other word if you so choose, it's up to yourself. Thus saith the Lord, now listen to this very carefully, thus saith the Lord, and I'm his spokesperson. Thus saith the Lord, there shall be 10 cancer diagnoses per 100 employees of the Mellon Bank. Thus saith the Lord, there shall be 10 deaths of those under the age of 50 per 100 employee, and under the age of 60 per 100. There shall be 10 deaths that the Lord will extract out of the Mellon Bank. 10 diagnoses of cancer of every 100 employees. Thus saith the Lord, vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. You heard me read it? Thus saith the Lord to Eric Adams, when our children stood on your doorsteps and you refused to help us, we called upon you, you turned a deaf ear. 10 homosexual men will come out of the closet and sue you for homosexual practices with them. Thus saith the Lord, Eric Adams to Eric Adams, your property, bank account shall be seized the way the FBI seized your iPad, your phone, and your documents going back last year. Thus saith the Lord, you will be deserted, thus saith the Lord, by state employees and local employees. And you, Eric Adams, will die poor and alone. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay. And to all enemies of ATLAH, and to all enemies of Pastor Manning, every act, every deed, every thought you have done, thus saith the Lord, touch not mine anointed, neither do my prophet any harm. I will repay, saith the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. Payback is a bitch. That's right. That's right.